Hello and welcome. I'm Maria.
And I'm Rachel.
And we're your hosts of the Remember Me podcast.
And we're very happy you're here with us today.
Remember Me is dedicated to preserving the memories of those affected by dementia and the families walking alongside them.
We've created this space for you to feel more connected and supported.
And we hope these stories allow for a deeper understanding and a sense of belonging.
And shine a light on our motto, accept the good.
Always, always accept the good.
This is Remember Me.
Today, we have an incredible guest. She's a wife, mother, a boss, entrepreneur, co-founder of Make Time Wellness, incredible care partner and advocate, a New York Times bestselling author of The Unexpected Journey, the caregiver resource guide she wished had been placed in her hands when her husband was first diagnosed with FTD. She is also what I'm going to call an FTD champion.
Oh, that's so
And
nice.
she's doing so much good for our community and bringing so much light for all of us. And we are so thankful and so excited to welcome our friend Emma HEMING WILLIS.
Hi, you guys.
Wow. What a nice
What a lovely intro that was.
There you go.
That was very
You just
kind.
winged that in the car on the way over here?
No, I wrote it like last night a couple times. But anyway,
That's very sweet.
Well, welcome.
That was ace. Thank you.
welcome to an FTD community podcast.
I'm so excited to be here.
You're home.
I'm so,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so nice to be here and to be able to talk to you guys and to connect to our community.
Yes.
Who gets it?
Yes.
This is a safe space.
It is,
It is
of
a safe
course.
space.
That's why I'm cozy today.
Yes.
You know,
You look
I feel
great.
like this is a
You look
cozy
wonderful.
day.
Always.
I think a good place to start, and something that Maria and I have both thought, is like, obviously, we've read your book and we know the title and we think it's pretty spot on because nobody expects to be walking this journey. But what does it feel like? Like, you're in it now. You're in the trenches.
Yeah.
You're advocating. You're going on book tours. Like, where are you? What does this feel like for you?
Oh, I think most days I'm like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
You know, because we are in the thick of it. But what I know is also being able to write the book and advocating, connecting with other caregivers has been a lifeline for me. I think that by not doing all the things that feel purposeful right now, I don't know where I would be without without all the stuff.
That's a
And
good
I think
point.
I also think it's like a protection too. I keep myself really busy so I don't have to really feel the grief
Yeah.
that is consistently with me, because when I give that a moment to sort of surface, it's right there,
Yeah, it takes you to
very present.
Yeah.
So I think, again, like doing the work, and it helps me. It's kind of saving me, definitely.
I think we can relate.
Yeah,
to
I was going
that.
to say, I think we can relate. I think it feels good to pour positive energy into something when you're going through such a helpless journey, you
Yeah.
know? And what I love about your book is that I feel like reading it, and I listen to a lot of it too, because, busy mom.
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing like your evolution as a caregiver and your journey, and just like I related to it so much because it's a new role that you're just like, you'd never expected, like
Right, and it's different than like a mom caregiver.
very different.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like you're
Very
yeah.
different.
That's
some
a-
of it's natural, some of it's like, wait, now I'm like caregiving for my equal.
Right.
Like it's a juxtaposition. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I didn't expect in my 20s I was going to move in with my new husband into my mom's, house and care for her. And you like take on this new role and this new part of yourself and your personality. And I was wondering if maybe you could just kind of talk about how you found your voice and like how you've empowered yourself to do some things I know are like uncomfortable for you to do, the public speaking and stuff. But
Oh,
you've
yeah.
like, you're like doing it.
No, I'm
and
doing
you're
it.
killing it.
That's very kind.
But like, how have you found like the strength to do that?
I know that early on, like, I was so isolated and I wasn't able to connect or share. I didn't know what community was. I didn't really want to be a part of this community, no offense.
Yeah, of course.
But I realized that once I got to the other side of that, when we shared our family statement, I really felt like I could then just open up. And I felt like being able to talk about what we were experiencing, what I was experiencing as a new care partner was so important and needed, because I was so isolated. I was like the complete opposite of that. And what I've learned is that by sharing and talking and getting out there, it's helping me. Really, sharing my story,
Yeah.
being able to connect with others helps me. And no, I don't love the public speaking. I've taken a beta blocker for this.
You wanted
I got one in my bag if you want it.
Maybe.
I really don't like public speaking, and especially the content, right? Like it's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's a lot, but I know that it's important, and I think by sharing, it's helping me, and I know that, from what I'm hearing, that it helps. It's been helping others
Yes.
too,
It absolutely is.
to feel seen and validated. And so yeah, did I answer that question?
Yes.
I didn't really fully ask my real question.
Okay.
Can I go?
Hit us with it.
So something you talk about in the book, and I've mentioned this to you, is asking for help is like a thing that you had to learn to do. And I witnessed that with my dad too. He's like, I'm Leah's everything. Like, I don't need to ask other people to take care of this. But you talk about it in your book as really being like a very empowering thing. I love that you have a list of things that you can actually ask people to do, because I think sometimes it's overwhelming to be like, well, what do I need? But maybe you could tell us a little bit about just like, once you let go and you started letting more people in and sharing, like, how that felt.
I mean, I think going back to it, like my mother was a single mom who worked 3 jobs. She taught me to be independent, self-reliant. You don't ask anyone else for help. You get out there and you do it. That's how I was raised. So when it came to the point of wanting to ask for help, it wasn't even an option. Like, I didn't even think that you can do that. And I think as women in society, like, we want to take it all on, and we want to do it all ourselves. And this thought that I subscribe to, that if I do ask for help, I am failing. I am a failure. I'm failing my husband. I'm failing myself. What will other people think? And I decided to not ask for any help until Bruce's neurologist, told me these statistics of caregivers dying before their loved one. And she also gave me permission to start asking for help. She was like, you are at a point now where it is becoming actually unsafe, and you need to be able to reach out. You need to bring more family, friends into the mix. And you are lucky that you have resources that a lot of people don't, where you can actually hire a formal caregiver.
Right.
And I needed that permission to know that it was okay, to know that we were getting into a time where we needed more support for safety, and I asked for help, and to be able to do that and to bring that support in was game changing. It was really game changing for me, so that I could continue also to care for our 2 young daughters who were 8 and 10 at the time when Bruce was diagnosed. My attention was going in the wrong direction.
Of course.
Because you need to when you're caring for someone with FTD. All your focus needs to be on that person.
For a plethora of reasons.
Yeah.
Safety. What are they putting in their mouth? Like,
Yeah.
you can't look away.
No, you can't
And
look
I
away.
think that's where it gets so, like, daunting, where you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed tonight. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to do the same thing.
Well, you're lucky if you even go to bed.
Yeah, true.
You know,
Right,
you're also
right.
like sleeping with one eye open
Are they
at night.
What
Or
was
like
that?
researching, how do I take care
Yeah.
of this new challenge or what, you know.
and you're not sleeping also because you're stressed out, and you know, I don't know, I catastrophize and worry, and that would keep me up at night too. So, you know, bringing in support was really helpful and needed. And, you know, I want others to know, and what the experts and specialists say in this book is that people wait too long to ask for
Yeah.
help. And by the time they've asked for help, that whole like infrastructure that we've created has completely fallen apart.
Yep.
And that's where we were.
Right.
You know, the whole bottom had kind of fallen out. And being able to start to bring that support in to sort of build that foundation back up again changed everything.
And you know the funny, not funny, haha, but funny part is when you do finally say like, okay, the white flag, I need help. People are like, of course.
Right.
There's never like, you do.
I mean, some family, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think people, as
They want to help.
Yes, as a society, are born to be helpers. I don't know.
They
maybe
want to
not
help, but they don't know
everybody.
how to help,
Right.
right?
That's the thing.
Which
That's
is like the
right.
thing where if there's anything I can do, please let me know, which, you know, I hear all the time. And it's very mean, you know, it
Yes.
comes from like a loving,
Right.
kind
Yeah.
place. But it is not actionable, and we need like action items. We don't
Right.
need people to be passive.
Right.
We need like, well, what does that mean? Like, what can you do to help? Like, what are the boundaries within that?
Totally.
Well, and people don't know the disease, so they don't know like what could I actually do,
Do
you
to
know.
help.
I think something that was so helpful with my mom was like sitting with her, holding her hand,
Just be with
Being
them.
present.
listen to music, and
Yeah.
I'll go do the laundry.
Totally.
Or I'll just take a minute to myself.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Sure. I remember telling someone that I was more concerned about my father's health as my mom's care partner than I was about, I mean, yeah.
My stepdaughter said that to me too.
Yeah.
Scout. She was like, I am more worried about you than I am about my dad. And that was another like wake up call for me. Like, I am losing it. Like, I need to figure this out so I can continue to sustain
Right.
this journey of care. If I
Yeah.
am not, you know, if everyone sees me falling apart, how is this gonna
Right.
work?
Yeah. That's one thing that I kept in the back of my head is I have two, my kids were tiny, and they're watching me take care of him.
How old were they at the time?
I mean, they were born with him already ill. So they didn't know anything different, which was a huge thing that I had to wrestle with because he was the guy for me. But it's also showing them how we care for people,
Yeah.
you know, and that's insanely important to me. If
Yeah.
this disease is waiting for me down the road, I want them to have a model of you can ask for help, you can step forward. You don't
Yes.
have to, like, you have to find your own unexpected journey and walk your path. But I think these decisions that you're faced with as a caregiver, you can't understand them until you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, like I would think as a young kid, like, I'm never going to put my parents in an assisted living. I'm never going to do this to my parent. Well, that's
Yeah.
out the window.
I mean, you were in a very tough spot.
Yes, of course. But I think you have these ideas of how your life is going to look. And when something like this comes in, it's like, wait, bad things can happen?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, you know, like, yes, life throws you unexpected curveballs.
Sure.
And you have to, you know, there is no roadmap to
Right.
this.
Right.
You know, you're kind of like figuring it out on the fly.
As you're going.
And things that, you know, your care plan, well, did we ever have a care plan? No.
Yeah,
I mean, now I'm
right.
talking about care plans more. But, you know, yes, you think like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll never give my kid
Yeah,
an iPad.
I'll never let my
Right.
kid.
My
Oh,
kid's
yeah,
never
just
gonna
like,
look at a, you know,
Right.
and literally then they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
glued to their iPad.
Totally.
you
You're
know?
like, well, there goes that.
Yeah.
That's something my cousin told me about parenting. She was a parent before
Yeah.
me.
Don't ever
She's
say
like,
I'll never.
she's like, everything you say you're not gonna do, you will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
like,
will do.
I'm never going to bring my baby into my bed. Whoops. Whoopsie.
yeah, totally.
He's next to me. I think making these decisions, and you're making them preemptively, right? Which is like you're waiting till the very last minute. That's what I did, at least. I'm gonna wait and see if this is really the decision I'm going to have to make. Okay, now I have to make that decision, and it's done. But then it opens the door to a million other decisions that you have to make.
Yes.
And I think you touched on decision fatigue. What do you do? How do you unfatigue yourself? Like,
You look to community. You know, I just was talking about this. So I have a friend of mine, Franny, who I talk about in the book, and she's ahead of me in the journey where her husband has passed from young onset Alzheimer's. But she just like, you know, when I have like a question or I'm trying to figure something out, she's like my first call. You know, like, what did you do with this, and how did you handle that?
That's you.
And that's so helpful. You know,
Right,
I think that helps me with the decision fatigue, because as a caregiver, you are making decisions all the time.
Right.
All the time, whether your person is right next to you or not.
Right.
Right.
And sometimes it's really nice when someone else who is a little bit ahead of you on that journey, can be like, well, here are some ideas. This is
Right.
what we did. This is what was helpful. So I look to my community now to sort of help with the decision fatigue, because they get it. They understand it. I can't
Right.
ask friends and people that aren't sort of within if they're not in it day in, day out.
Right.
And nor is my friend. She's not in it day in, day out with me, but you know,
She
she's
had the
someone, she helps.
And do you find FTD to be like on the tip of your tongue all the time? Is that just like what you're talking about, thinking about
All the time.
all the time?
Yeah. I am always thinking about my husband. I am here with you, but my mind is always with him.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in two places at once
Always.
all the time. You're
That-
never fully present here.
No.
Yep.
That's why I'm a little scattered, like when I'm doing these interviews and like I'm trying to be like
Right.
focused.
Just
But
be-
that's why I took my Apple Watch off, because I've got it bells and whistles and all the things that links over
Yeah, right.
to where he is,
Yeah.
and I have to take it off because I'm.
Yeah,
that's
you
where I'm
become
at.
obsessed with it.
Yes.
Full disclosure, TMI, I don't care.
Oh boy.
I remember I was my dad's primary, and I would take my phone into
In the shower.
shower
She still
Yeah.
does
with
it.
me,
I know,
and it's
I know.
it's like ingrained in my body that I still do it.
Yeah.
My kids, Mom, you shouldn't take your phone, and I'm like, what if someone needs me? Nobody needs me anymore like that. You know, no one's calling me to tell me that my dad's choking or he's,
Lord.
you know,
Yeah.
run out of razors or whatever. But it becomes part of you. You don't even know how changed you are until you step back.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's a very traumatic experience.
Yes.
You know, it is really traumatic, and that is where I'm at now. It's just the trauma of it. I don't know what it's like for you guys now, as you know, you're on the other side of it. I don't know if you've worked through that trauma, but it's
I think it
it's
still lives
hardcore.
in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lingering things like what you're talking about with like the phone in the shower, and like my dad, every time he calls me now, I still have that like,
What is
I was
she-
always waiting for like a call about my
Yes, of
mom or
course.
something, she fell or something, and so and I'm like, what? And he's like, just call and see how the boys are. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The deep breath after. I know.
I have some follow-up questions
Okay,
to
yeah,
what we're
please,
talking about.
please.
So I think for maybe people who might be listening that don't fully understand FTD, I think I want people to understand that alongside the decision fatigue is like this grief of like, I can't ask my person what they want. You know, like at the point when my mom was diagnosed, she had PPA, like she couldn't articulate, you know,
How I want to be cared for.
yeah, like I remember my dad wanted to like buy this lake house, and he was like, maybe this will be right for us, and we'll buy this lake house, it'll be a calm, it was like in a little Maine small seaside town, and I remember him asking her and her being like, she would just say yes or no depending, like there was no, you know, and he'd be like, so we should buy it, and she'd be like, yeah. So you like it? No. Like it just, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And it's
Yeah.
like this struggle of like, I want to do the best for them, and I want to give them everything they need and make the decisions. But like, I try to empower my dad. I'm like, you're the love of her life.
Yeah.
You're the husband. You can do this. And I think he needed permission, like you were saying earlier, like that he can do what he feels is right.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard when you're looking at your person and all you want to do is be like, is this okay? You know? And they can't respond. And I don't think people understand that unless they're in it.
Yeah, you take it all. You take it all on. You take all of those decisions on. I think like what's helped me is like Bruce and I had such a really solid foundation, and I kind of I knew what he would want.
Yeah.
You know. So that's kind of helped me, I think, make really difficult decisions on his behalf. But it's because I know him. I know who he is, what his spirit is about, what he would want for our young girls, for myself to continue to thrive, whatever that would look like, even by sharing our story. You know, I think by me being able to share, it sort of unburdened me, you know, a bit, so that I could open up, because people are like, are you sure you should share this story? No, yeah, because he would want me to do that, because I'm bringing in more support that way for our family, and it's going to help another family. And that was what Bruce was all about, you know. So you have to make these really difficult decisions, but it was, I think, easier for me because I really knew what he would want.
You relied on the history that you guys created.
Yeah.
It's important.
And knowing him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And not that your father doesn't know your mother. I mean, obviously.
They grew up together, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
These are not the decisions that you want to make by yourself.
You just want to do it perfect.
With your person.
That's how you were, too.
Yeah.
I want it to be
make it
perfect.
the rest of
I
your
want
life.
to do everything exactly right. And it's like, you have to give yourself grace that, like, one, you're not a professional caregiver. None of us are nurses, right?
Right. No,
Okay.
but even you're so attached. Even if you were a nurse, like by trade, you're caring
it's different.
It's
for-
very different when it's your person.
Yeah.
You know, especially like your spouse, or, you know, for you guys being, you know,
Children.
daughters,
Yes.
children.
Right.
It is a different dynamic when it becomes your spouse, which.
Yeah, it must be. Because, I don't know. I could ask my mom, what do you think about this? But you're not going to ask your 8-year-old, you think Daddy would like it if I...
Yeah,
right.
that's-
I mean, my dad asked me, but I wasn't 8. But
You
yeah.
don't want to put that on your kids.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
very
really
hard.
hard.
It's very
I
hard.
remember my dad would do, like, can't wait to have Gary back on, because I'm really talking about him a lot. But this is how I relate to your story, too, as I'm reading through. It's like a lot of the realizations that you have along the way of, okay, I need to ask for help. Okay, now I need to, like, go to, you know, he went to a support group. You know, you reached out for community. You had your friends and connections. Like, it's interesting to read and listen, because I just saw that with my dad. It was like on the job training, just like learn as you go, and like
learning on the fly.
Yeah,
We're
really.
thrusted into a position with like no previous experience.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
crazy.
We're going to try this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try it this
Yeah.
way.
You know,
okay.
and you're the eyes and ears for the doctor, if your doctor will listen to you. You know, to be able to report back, and then you're dealing with medications and
Yeah,
what the
right.
side effects and what are you. I mean, it's a lot. It's really a lot. It's a tall order for people without this experience dealing with a disease like FTD,
Right.
which is a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. So, yeah.
We were also talking about this last night. Like, I think there's such a need. I mean, the people in the FTD community, I know, feel it. Like, this is not Alzheimer's. This isn't like forgetting to turn the stove off, or like putting 2 different shoes on.
which is also awful.
Which is horrible. Yes, of course. But this
But
is
it's different.
Like, the person changes. Like, their personality, their speech, the way that they move through the world. Everything is different. And it's not grandma at 80. It's parents and daughters and people that we've spoken to that just lose their family members or their loved ones, just like little by little.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
painful.
not the memory that goes necessarily. It's them.
Right.
You know, that's
Right.
what makes it so unique. And I think it's an incredibly hard pill to swallow, isolated, with community, with family, without. It's all horrible.
It's still hard.
But I believe in storytelling and sharing I hate the cliche misery loves company, but it does.
Yeah.
When someone says, oh yeah, my loved one did that, you're like,
Oh,
Well, that's how we
Okay.
bonded.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, you get it? Oh my God. Wow.
yeah, the people that get it.
Yeah.
And it's great to think, yeah, the podcast helps advocate. Yeah, the podcast gives the education. But till you actually see what FTD does, it's really difficult.
I mean, that's why I loved your guys' podcast, you know, as we got to that diagnosis and being able to, I feel like how I found you guys was like going into like Apple and searching FTD.
Right.
Then
Yes.
you guys popped up, and I remember just listening to the stories
Yeah.
and just being like, oh, yeah, okay. I like, it's just so nice to hear others share and then feel that connection, or hear their story where like you know, light bulbs were like
Yes.
going
Right.
off in my head all the time. Yeah, like community is helpful, but the living it is hard. It's just, how do you find that balance
Yes.
to be able to cope and
Right.
deal
Right.
with those changes
Right.
that happen, all of that slow loss that
Yes.
happens over time. It's hard.
Right.
Alongside the care, like figuring out the care and your grief, it is so much.
It's a lot.
And planning for the future too.
Yeah.
Like, you have to think, okay, this isn't going to last forever. And then what? Then what am I going to do? You
Mhm.
know?
I think it's so hard to predict this disease too.
Right.
And I think most of the time when we meet people and talk to them, like their main concerns are like, what's that? What
does it look
What
like?
is it going to look like? What's the
Mhm.
trajectory? What's the end going to look like, feel like? And it's different for everyone. And so you're kind of on this journey of like, I know this is only going to get worse,
Yeah.
but I don't know when and
Right.
how and what it's going to, it's,
And what it's going to be, what is
What
it
is
going to
it
look
gonna look
like?
like?
You know, that's like, I can't even think about it. I mean, I've heard the stories, I understand it, I've got my head sort of wrapped around it, but I try not to go there.
what do you do to like support yourself in your grief? Like, I know you reach out and you have community and you have your friends that you talk
Mhm.
about in the book, but like, is there something that just like really like kind of is a balm to your heart in the really hard, griefy kind of days?
Yeah, I mean, I just allow myself to feel it. You know, I think it's really important. I mean, I'll shove it down.
Yeah.
Conceal, don't feel, don't
Yeah,
let it show
right.
kind of vibe. I'm all about that.
Elsa?
Yeah.
Yes, totally. But yeah, sometimes I just allow myself to feel it because it's going to come out somewhere else at some point. So it's important to like have a cry.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is like I was crying a lot all the time. I couldn't even talk. Like I couldn't even have this conversation without breaking down. I think, you know, you kind of like, I don't want to say get used to it, but I think I'm used to the grief and I'm used to navigating it now, and learning how to also bring some joy and like laughter into my life now, because early on all I felt was grief and sadness and anger and resentment. It was a very dark place for me in those early times.
And you were isolated.
And I was isolated. But no one told me that, you know what, you're feeling all of this now, but in time you're going to be able to kind of learn how to balance this.
Right.
And you're going to laugh and you're going to have fun again. And it's not going to all be bad.
Right.
But I wish someone would have told me that early on. I probably wouldn't have been able to hear it back then.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. But I think for people that are on this journey, that are starting out, I hope that they know that at some point, like, you know, like there'll be gleams of light along the way.
totally.
You just have to like look up and look out for them. You know, like I wanted not to just have this one sort of note of a life. You know, I wanted to just have it be bigger than just grief and sadness, especially for our two daughters. And I know that Bruce would want that for us. He would, you know, his whole thing is like, live it up, go have fun.
Right.
You know, he was wild. He was so much fun. You know, if you could see that I was living in any other way other than that, it wouldn't honor him, and he would hate that for me and for our daughters.
I think that's so I don't think everybody experiences that.
Oh,
I think a lot of people just like stay in the darkness.
right.
But I think it takes the mindset. Like you have to push yourself
Yeah.
to get there.
It's a choice.
It
Like,
totally is.
I knew when Bruce was diagnosed, I was like, I'm not going to allow this disease to take our whole family out.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it.
You're not.
And it was a conscious choice that I made because I love life. Like I
Yeah.
loved our life. I loved just the simple things about our life that were gone, that we lost. And I just wanted to be able to bring that back in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a process. I mean, it wasn't there in the beginning. And, you know, in the book, I have that reframe chapter, like at the end of the book. I'm like, you don't have
Yeah.
to read this yet.
Yeah.
You-
Right.
Not everyone is going to be ready to reframe
Right.
this journey, you know, and some don't. And that's
Right.
okay. But my hope is that, like, in time, you will be able to just see what like the kind of person it has turned you into. I mean, I am a different person at
Oh
a
my God,
whole
yes, of
cellular
course.
level than I
Night and
was
day.
when I
Yeah.
first
Night and
started.
day.
How could you not be?
You know,
Yeah.
like, you know, we need to like pat ourselves on the back and see, like, you know, what we've been able to do and accomplish, and like, look at you guys where you're at. I mean, you know, to be able to come out the other side of it and then to be able to support other FTD caregivers is like super meaningful and so important.
I will say too, I think when you find this out, this little like gold light bulb in this part, right? Like I found out at the end, like when my dad was dying, like this is very beautiful.
Right.
Like the silence and the quiet and us just next to each other.
Yeah.
I think when you're in it, you don't have the capacity or the space to be like, this isn't like, I can't articulate what I'm
I
trying
know what you
to
mean,
say.
but it's like what you said about your friend who's like a little ahead of you. It's like good for someone to share.
yeah, like you are
can-
going to laugh. You
Yeah.
are going to look back on this with like rose-colored glasses in a way. Like the trajectory of watching my dad die was not fun, but like it's taught me so much about myself, about the way I see the world, about him, about relationships and love and what you do for other people. But it's also taught me like the world isn't always fair and easy. Like I think this experience has been something that I've actually, I don't want to say enjoyed, but like it's shaped
kinda
me.
do.
Yeah.
It shaped the way I, you know, talk to my kid, everything.
It's bittersweet.
It's
your
very-
favorite word.
It's very bittersweet.
It is
It's
very bittersweet.
bittersweet. It stops you in your tracks,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh gosh, my life is different than it was 2 weeks ago. But I don't
You-
think it's bad. I don't know.
I know.
I don't like saying that to people because it sounds, what do you mean it's not bad? Like, it's horrible, but it's also,
You got to accept the good.
yeah,
Yeah.
you accept the good.
Right.
It's beautiful.
I was gonna
You're-
try and
you're-
get
you're
there.
gonna
and
go
you took
there,
us
right?
right there. Yes, I
You
think
were weaving it in.
when I read that chapter, I was like, this our reframe is the accept the good. And like you said, we learned it very late in our
Yeah.
journeys. But like we hear from people that are like, you helped me enjoy the last like 4 months and finding,
Right.
you know, the sweet,
Those
you know,
moments.
moments. And I think sometimes in those sweet moments, it's like you're parsing out like what you can find from your person that's like still, you know, there.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like it's so hard separating the disease.
From the
You know,
person.
they're like
Yeah.
kind of become two different people in your brain. But like I remember these quiet moments with my mom playing the Nutcracker and like holding her hand and just like it was everything.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
You know?
It's beautiful.
Because, you know, it's like, sorry, not to cut you off, but like how present we
Yeah.
become.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I think
It's the
like that
best.
is so beautiful.
Yeah.
What is so beautiful about this? It's like when I am a worrier, I catastrophize, I am like thinking the worst of the worst of the worst. But when I am with my husband, I am so present with
Yeah,
him.
right.
I am enjoying him.
Yeah.
And I also think like this, like the stigma that comes with dementia or FTD, and when we paint this really terrible picture around it, which I'm not saying that it's not,
Right.
but I also think it's important for us to be able to accept the good and share these moments, because when we stigmatize, you know, that's why people with dementia get dismissed,
Yeah.
and that's why they don't get the best support, because no one wants to talk about it. We're going to
Right.
put them in the corner. But
Right.
no, there are beautiful things that have come from this, that will continue to come from it, that I think is important for other caregivers to know. You know, and like I said, like for me with Bruce, and to be in those moments with him are just like, I'll never forget that. Like
Right.
you being with your mother,
Yeah.
watching the Nutcracker, like you will never forget that moment.
Never.
Right.
Because
It's
you
so
were
simple.
present. It's
Yeah,
so simple.
It's the most simple thing.
Right.
And
What
it
can
was
we-
like weeks before she passed, and I just was like, and I had 2-year-old, and I was like, I'm just gonna have an hour with my mom.
Yeah.
And it's like my favorite memory.
I think it's because it's so intentional.
Yes. Also, I just want people to know who don't know the disease, like, even though they change so much, and, you know, my mom lost the ability to speak, I still was connected with her.
Yeah.
When she looked into my eyes, I knew I was her firstborn baby girl.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
do you still feel that? Like, you know?
Yes,
Yes.
You know?
I do.
I did till like the very end. Till like
Yeah.
when his eyes closed.
Like,
you
it's
know?
like you learn a new way to connect.
Yes.
But it's like bittersweet because there are these beautiful, quiet, joyful moments. But then in the back of your head, you're like, but it used to be different, you know? So you're
Yeah.
kind of holding.
I remember I used to go visit my dad, and he was in a wheelchair. He could walk, but not well. And I would look at him and I'd go, "Don't go anywhere." And he would look at me like, "Shut
Like,
up."
you
Right?
ass.
Like, and we would chuckle, and then he would make some weird noise, and we'd go right back into like the FTD wave. But I remember I'd always do that to him, and he'd just look up at me like, "Girl, if I could move,
Yeah, I would.
I would grab your hair."
Yeah.
I think it's an important topic, separating the person from the disease, because
Yeah.
I think it's hard because they look the same. They're young.
Yes.
That's not what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that?
It was very important for me
Yeah,
in the beginning.
to separate him
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
the
because
FTD.
I was like pissed with him
Yeah, right.
prior to
Right.
understanding what this disease was. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, what is
Why
going
are you
on? Like,
doing
Why
Yeah.
are you acting like
what
that?
is happening?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? So when we finally landed on that diagnosis, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Got it. I had read this book from Teepa Snow called Understanding the Changing Brain, which was really helpful for me to understand, like, this is what a healthy brain looks like, and this
Right.
is one that has a disease in it.
Right.
So I think that was helpful for me, where I could learn to separate Bruce from the disease. And I'm still pissed, and I still have resentment,
Yeah.
but it's not at Bruce, it's at the
Right.
disease.
Right.
So I think early on it was really helpful for me that, you know, the things that he was doing actually was not in his control.
Totally.
You know, it was his brain
Yeah, making him
misdoing whatever it is that it is doing.
We did that a lot, both you and I. Like, why? I remember I would just
I'm like,
yell.
do you not love me?
Yeah.
Like,
what are you? What is
why?
wrong
Like,
with you?
Because I
Yeah.
think you try and go through every scenario in your brain
Right.
other than that they're ill.
Right.
Before you know, I'm like, maybe it's midlife, you know, all the typical
All the
things that we
things.
hear. But I was like, oh, maybe I annoyed her. Or maybe like, maybe it's because we all left the net. Like, you just
You're
explain
making
it all away. And I'd
excuses,
rather
yeah.
think that my mom is just upset with me than like, I think I always knew, like, really deep down, like
There's
something was
something.
wrong. I remember I had told a friend, I actually don't remember. She told me, repeated this back to me. After my mom was diagnosed, my friend told me, you had cried to me and said, I know what's going on with my mom is not going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and she has no control over it. And I don't know what, I didn't have a name. I didn't know what FTD was, but you know,
felt
You
it.
feel it.
you
know
feel it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, you know, it can take like 7 years to get a diagnosis for people, but
Did they say 7 years? There was an average of 3?
maybe it's gone down.
Oh.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope it's gone
It's
down.
FTD,
But I think it, like, I
3,
mean, we
There's
talked
so-
to people
yeah.
like Lindy, whose mom, it was like, it took forever,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know?
Right.
But it's like, because we fight so hard, because we're like, we know this isn't them.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
know.
Yeah, and you're like trying to dig.
And
I
trying to
remember I'd
figure
like
out.
set him up sometimes to like, I'm going to put a bottle of whatever, Corona on the table and see if he drinks it. And
Yeah.
of course he would, you
Yeah.
know? And then I'd be like, see, something's wrong. He's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You like set it up, like try
Yeah,
and,
you're trying to figure. I mean, I think also like being in that anger early on, prior to getting a diagnosis, was really important because, I mean, that sounds crazy, but it's what helped me. It like anger is kind of actionable,
fueled
right?
you.
It
Yeah.
really did
Right.
fuel me.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, at some point in my gut, I was like, this isn't like we're not having marital problems.
Right.
Like there is like something not right.
Right.
And I think that anger and just confusion fueled me to go see a doctor.
Right.
You know, go around him to be able to get to that doctor. So there's something to be said about like your instincts and your gut. And then I think that's why the awareness piece is so important.
Yeah.
You know, like what you guys are doing, and you know, being able to bring that awareness so that we want people to get the support that they need earlier on.
Yes.
Not to wait 3 to 7 years for
Yeah.
a diagnosis, because by that point, you know, families are wrecked. They're wrecked.
Sometimes. Yeah.
They're absolutely wrecked. So I that's why I do it. I want to, you know, I want people when they get a diagnosis, I want them to get that diagnosis earlier,
Right.
so that they
Yes.
hopefully get into the trials.
Yes.
You know, earlier would be lovely,
That will help research too if we
yeah.
can get. Yes.
and so that people get the support that they need. You know, our diagnosis appointment and walking away with nothing was just like the worst.
Yeah, you're like, now I'm going to go Google it.
Now I'm going to Google it. I mean, you can't even Google like a headache without thinking that
Right.
you have like
Right.
a brain tumor.
Totally.
You know, so imagine like Googling FTD.
Yeah.
That
Have you
was-
heard our episode, just as a side note, the one where we like montaged all the people saying what they said in the diagnosis? It's
Oh,
like 7
no.
different
I would
people,
love to
and
hear
they're
that.
literally like,
The anniversary.
they said, this is what it is. You're going to need to put them in memory care. Good luck. They
Yeah.
said, I think it's FTD. Here's a pamphlet, you know.
One doctor was like, I hope you have a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. To
Oh.
the sister
Yeah,
project. I hope you have a lot of money because you're going to need it for your
really
mom.
Bad. Yeah.
I mean, even prior to the diagnosis, I remember like, you know, hearing about different types of dementia, and when FTD would come up, they'd be like, "Oh, that's the
Not
one
that
you-
one.
not
Yeah,
that one. That's the
one
one.
you
That's the
don't
one you don't want." So
Great.
when we received that diagnosis, I was like,
So you
"What
had
are
heard the
you-"
word. Yeah.
Well, I had actually known about FTD. So my mom's really close friend, Peg, her husband Don had FTD. So, and I had learned about FTD in my 20s. I didn't know what FTD meant. All I knew was hearing about Peg and her caregiving journey with her husband Don, who had FTD, and it sounded atrocious.
Yeah.
It just sounded horrible. And that was sort of my first introduction into FTD. So I kind of, I knew a little bit about it, but not like the full scope.
Right. Not
You
like
knew
know it
enough to be
now.
like,
yeah.
Not like I know it now,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I know
yeah.
it very well now.
when we started this podcast, a lot of like the idea behind it was, how do we let people know that it's so hard sometimes to remember our person for who they were before because they changed so much. And 5 years ago, nobody knew what FTD was. I mean, nobody. We found each other on the internet from like hashtags because there were like 5 people online talking about it. And so it's just such a unique part of the journey and such a heartbreaking part of the grief aspect is just wrestling with that. Like trying, when I was caring for my mom, it was so hard to remember her for who she was before. And so that's why with Remember Me, we wanted to like have the second half of all of our episodes be like, this is who the person was before all this. Like we need to remember that and keep that in the forefront of our minds.
But when do we do that? When do you, that's really hard for me. I know you're going to ask me something. I know what's coming.
This is where she's like, end.
Yeah, this
And
is
pause.
where, because I know where you're,
We're out of
I
time.
I know where you're going with it.
I'm not going to ask you how he would want to be remembered.
Oh, okay, okay.
I just want to ask you, okay?
Uh-huh. Go.
Hold on, let me take a sip of my drink. Let me take a deep breath and a beta blocker.
You probably wanted some Baileys in there.
I won't ask you that.
No, okay.
Unless
it's
you
a-
want me to.
No, go ahead.
I mean, you talk about it in the book how you think Bruce would be fine that if this is what his legacy is.
Yeah.
Like, and I can just tell you from our community, and you know this, like, it has helped so many people, even just in the day to day, to just have a name and a reference point for people where they like care what you have to say about what you've been through. Because so my mom had FTD and ALS. Sometimes I would just tell people she only had ALS because that's what they understood. But then it didn't really let them know the other piece that I was dealing with, where like my mom wasn't my mom, you know? And so it has meant so much. So I'm not going to ask you how you
No, I thought you were going to go with like, you know, when you were saying like, you know, keeping that in the forefront of your mind of like who your person was.
Yeah.
Because that's hard for me.
You
know, like I only see, I don't, it's, that first chapter of that book is like our love story.
I love it.
Yeah, but it was the hardest of that whole book. That was the hardest chapter to write. Like I had to dig so deep to just remember, because I have blocked that out. It is too painful for me to remember that time. Like, and
because it was so good.
Because it was so good, and where we are today is very different. So I try to not go there. I try to just stay present, and my hope is that in time, at some point, all of that will flood back. You know, someone's like, you know, they're like, do you watch Bruce's movies? And I say, I don't, because that's like that.
Yeah, seeing
it's
him
just
like healthy and his.
Yeah, when I look at old videos or pictures, it's just I can't. It's so hard for me. So I just try and stay present, which, you know, it kind of just is what it is. It protects me.
Yeah.
Because looking back brings up a lot of sadness and a lot of grief and how did this happen? I still can't believe that it's happening.
I can't even imagine.
But what's your question? Sorry, that's
I don't know. I'm rewriting it in my head right now.
No, that's where I thought that you were going. That's where I thought you were going.
No, I only want to take you to a cozy, comfy place.
I know, I
because
love
we
a
love
cozy,
you,
comfy. Yes,
and we are so. I'm not gonna cry because you'll get mad at me.
I don't.
But like, it means like thank you from our community for everything that you're doing, because it's not easy. You're in the thick of the journey right now, and you're raising two young
and
girls.
you're in the spotlight. People are watching. What is she doing? What is she saying? What,
right, and the clickbait, and it's
Oh
just so much.
The
but you're
judgment.
like, yeah, I'm doing it, and like it's making such a huge impact. I know you know that, but like,
no, I actually don't. And I know people do say that to me. I am so in the thick of it. Like as much as I'm so happy to hear that it is helping someone else, it's also helping me. And like it goes back to that of like being so isolated, so tight with the information that, you know, it is also helping me to be able to share. And if someone else is getting something out of that, then that's a freaking bonus for me, you know? That book is, you know, I brought in those experts and specialists because I had access to them that I know many caregivers don't. And this was just also a way for me to be able to pay it forward. You know, I had to like dig so hard for that like support. And that's a tall order for caregivers to be asked to do. So I knew I was sitting on valuable information. I wanted to put it in a book. I wanted to pay it forward. And if it helps someone else, that's great. But me writing that book was like therapy.
yeah, I feel like I
think
hear
it's
it
like-
a little bit
it's
in
like
the
a two-way-
Audible too. I can. It's
Oh, that was
tender.
hard.
It's
That was
tender,
very
I
hard. That was a
bet.
hard read.
Because
Oh
you're,
my
cause
God.
you're in it.
That was difficult.
Because you're in it
Right.
too.
Yeah.
You know, something I love about the book, and I can be pretty critical of some of the news and stuff just over the years of different programs and the way that people write about FTD sometimes. I'm like, they got it wrong. They got it wrong.
Yeah,
Call
right.
Rachel. I'm like, that's not, when we get this 1 minute in the spotlight, like, I don't want it to be wrong. Like, and it's like this pride thing for my mom and for my experience, and just, I don't know what it is about me. I just want people to understand. But this book, I think I emailed and told you this, like, it's very well done in explaining the disease. Like, you got it right.
Oh, good. Okay.
Somebody got it right.
Gold star.
Okay, that's good.
You know,
Gold star's
and
good.
so like someone who's been through it, we were talking about it last night. It's like it all relates to our experience in different ways, and I appreciate that so much because we have a spotlight right now. You're bringing the spotlight and you're getting it right.
I'm
And
trying. I hate that I'm the person with the brain that I have. I'm just trying to do the best
It
that
had
I
to
can
be you.
do. I'm like,
Yeah.
can you imagine?
Call to action.
It's I'm just trying to do the best that I can do, and it's hard. It's hard. Like I want to get it right,
And
I
are.
want to get it right.
You are.
And we asked our listeners too on our Patreon. We were like, anything you want to ask Emma? And it was more just like tell her we love her. Like
Oh, that's
tell her
kind.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind.
and it just means so much because we didn't feel seen. That's why we met on the internet and started a podcast as strangers. Like
Yeah.
we had to find something. Like there was no place for us. And I feel like now we're like a part of the conversation, and I just appreciate that so much. I do want to end on Bruce. I'll ask a layup question, as I call it,
Oh yeah,
to Rachel.
Yeah, slam dunk. Let's
but
go.
there's something about Bruce that, from just like someone who doesn't know him, just there's something so charming and approachable about him that like I just don't. It's like magic. I think I wrote to you after one of the conferences, like, I don't know. There's just
You feel like you know
something-
him?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
like,
knew you were gonna say that.
but it's like more than that. There's just something about him that's so like, I
Real.
don't know.
He's gonna come
Humble.
over to your house for Christmas.
He would.
Yeah, like he's just
Yeah.
like
He
you can
would.
feel his genuine
Yeah.
aura, like, and I
Good
just I know he's so beloved.
He is.
It's just like
What's your question?
my question is, what's your favorite thing about Bruce?
I thought you were gonna say, what's your favorite Bruce Willis movie?
Oh, I mean, do you have one?
She did ask me that.
I asked her last night.
Oh, yeah.
Look who's talking.
And
Oh,
mine's,
that's a good one.
that's a
That's a good
good-
one.
mine's The Kid.
Oh, The Kid. Interesting. Sixth Sense for me.
Oh,
Okay.
My favorite thing about my favorite thing, I think it just how humble and down to earth. You got it right. You've kind of painted that picture. What a great dad, great husband, a great friend. The people that he's had in his life, he's had for a long time, and he is. We surround him with that. He has given us so much, and we surround him with so much love and care. So yeah, he's just an all-around great guy, and I hate that this has happened to him. I really do.
I love in the book the little like Bruceisms, I'll call them.
Oh yeah.
Like some I won't say because we don't do the explicit.
Oh, you
part of
don't?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. Okay. 'Cause
but-
now you're telling me it's a good thing I
Wish we
stayed rated
did.
G.
I feel like we have to do this sometimes where we're like, what would Frank say? What would Leah
Yeah.
say? And it's so beautiful. We have such close relationships with
Yeah.
our people. So like we know what they're going to say. What do you think Bruce would say about where you are right now in your advocacy and everything that you're doing?
Oh, he'd be so proud. He was like my biggest cheerleader. Always just like, didn't matter what I was doing, just always like there rooting me on, and, like a team player, just always wanted to like, push me out there a little bit more. I like to kind of be more sort of behind him because he's such a force. But I know that he would be so proud of me. And, yeah, I don't know.
think he would.
No
too.
Bruceism?
No, I don't know. I don't know what a Bruceism would be for this one.
Go get him, kid.
Go get it. Yeah.
You
Got
got it.
this, Emma.
You got it,
I-
girl.
when you're
I'm trying
big,
to
you're
think of the
busy.
one.
I don't know. He had a lot of like random one-liners. I don't know.
That's a
I
good one.
love that.
When
Yeah.
You're big, you're busy. I like that.
And then when they pop in your head, you're like, it's like a message from,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Thank you,
Thank you for
guys.
everything.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for being here. Get your book.
There's my book. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you want to learn more about Remember Me, you can go to remembermeftd.com. We love getting new Instagram followers, so follow us on Instagram at Remember Me Podcast. And please consider joining our Patreon. It's a great way to support the podcast and get extra content. For example, our Patreon just got an extended version of this episode dropped a day early for them. So you can go to patreon.com/remembermecommunity. This podcast is produced by Rachel Martinez and Maria Kent Beers, And the beautiful music you hear is a song called So Damn Lucky by Daily Kent.